Hi, and welcome to a short video explaining how SnapLogic allows you to perform continuous integration and continuous delivery. So what we'll do is we'll go through a short presentation, and also at the end I'll give you some indication of some more videos that will give you a more in-depth understanding of how to do that integration. So if we come out of the slide deck, there we go, move that across there. What we'll go to is our SnapLogic window. So here what you'll see is on the left hand side, if I just scroll down my little folder here, and what you'll see here is that there's a couple of projects which I've created, which are Git Push and Git Pull. Now obviously the Git Push pipeline, this is one of the best practice pipelines that we've got in SnapLogic. So when you become a customer, what we do is that we give you best practice patterns and pipelines that allow you to perform certain actions and do it in a very kind of maintainable way. So we understand that different companies, different organizations have different requirements in order to perform their continuous integration and continuous delivery. So what we do is you give you the kind of the tool set, all the tools needed to perform those actions to fit into your processes. So we know that there's no hard and fast rules, so we create very flexible patterns which allow you to perform certain actions. So what I've got here is I've got a very basic pipeline, so SL pipeline to GitHub. And what this pipeline does, as you can see here, if I open up the pipeline parameters, is that it gives you some parameters that you can feed into this particular pipeline that will allow you to push a particular pipeline to GitHub. And I've got my credentials in there for my GitHub account, and you can see that I've got my project. So you got the Connect Faster Dev here, the source space is Elish Mystery, the project is Git Push, the pipeline is Salesforce calendar pipeline, and the Git project is the actual Git project within GitHub itself. So if we flip over to GitHub, then you can see that this is my GitHub account, and at the moment there's nothing in SL test repo. So if we just flip over to there again, you'll see that there's no files in there. This is something I deleted about 30 minutes ago, but at the moment there's no files in there. So now what we can do is that you can see I've tried to parameterize this pipeline to the hilt so that you can be configured to pass in your own parameters if you want to use it. So if we just do a validate on this pipeline, because I've done an execute on preview, what this should do is take this particular pipeline and push it to GitHub. And you can see that we're using the SnapLogic metadata snaps. So something that hopefully you're familiar with, the SnapLogic metadata snaps, it looks through the tasks, it looks for a task which matches what we gave it into pipeline parameters, and then it uses the rest put command to push that pipeline to GitHub. So if we now go back to GitHub and refresh, what you'll hopefully see, you can see Elish Mystery demo git, which corresponds to the folder I gave it in the SnapLogic pipeline. If I go inside there, then you'll actually see that the demo Salesforce calendar pipeline has been pushed there, and it was done just a second ago. So if you go back to here, you can see a minute ago I pushed that pipeline to GitHub. So nice and straightforward. So integration with GitHub is very straightforward. The key is here is that you're taking the pipeline that we provide as the best practice, and it works out of the box, but also you can tailor it to maybe give error messages, or if you want to perform some other action with it, you can use the pipeline parameters to kind of tailor it to a particular folder. But in essence, you've got, you've got 95% of the way there to integrate with your processes. Now the next pipeline is pull from Git, and this is a lot more straightforward. So what we're doing here is that we've got no other pipelines in my Git pull folder. So if I just open up the pipeline parameters, what we're doing here is just the opposite. So we're going to GitHub and we're pulling the pipelines from my demo Git folder. And if we just break this down, so you can see a REST GET here, it's calling the GitHub APIs for a particular owner. You've got the REST GET here, which is using the download URL. And essentially, when you do the SnapLogic create, then it's taking that pipeline, and obviously you can change this or parameterize it, but just to show you that it's working properly, the pipeline that I'm going to create once I pull it from Git is called pipeline from Git. So let's validate this pipeline and see what happens. Again, this is one of the best practice pipelines that you'll get once you become a customer, which allows you to kind of integrate with GitHub. So again, no work on your part, it's just a case of integrating into your processes. So that's finished as well. If we just go back to the designer and do a refresh, so it will kind of bring back those objects that we've created in our project folder. What you will see here, if we go back to pipelines and we go to Elish Mystery and go to Git Pull, then what you'll see is that this pipeline, the one that we just pushed, so if I go down here and look at demo Salesforce calendar, so this is the one that we pushed to SnapLogic, and subsequently the pipeline from Git is what we pulled from SnapLogic. And if we validate that, then it will hopefully show you that it's a legitimate pipeline that's working and allows you to create your new versions, etc. So you can see hopefully that this pipeline will validate. Okay, so nice and straightforward. The key principle here is that we've got these best practice pipelines that you'll inherit when you become a customer. Okay, so the next one is actually a little bit more involved, and this is where we actually integrate with Jenkins. So what I've got here is a Jenkins job, which I've called SL promotion between projects. And what I've done here is I've actually created a Jenkins job. So if I call it test Jenkins job, just to show you what I did, I created a free start project, and what you can do here is that the parameterized project, and I'll show you this, you can add parameters here, and also as a build step what you need to do is do a HTTP request, and this is a plugin that you'll find in Jenkins. So if I go back to Jenkins here and do manage Jenkins, that was it, and go to manage plugins, then what you'll see is that this is the one that I've got installed already, but this is the one that you'll have to install in order to see that option in the build option. So if you go back to Jenkins now, let's have a look at this project that we've created previously. So let's configure that project, and what I've done is that this project is parameterized. So I take in a folder, so the source project. So I'm going to take my pipelines from the demo migrate pipeline folder and push them to a totally different tenant, and my tenant that I'm pushing them to is the target project SnapLogic projects Elish Mystery, and the pipeline that I'm going to hit takes in this bearer token as a parameter. And finally, if I go down here, then this is the pipeline that I'm going to be hitting from Jenkins. So when I build my Jenkins job, it's going to hit that pipeline, it's going to use that bearer token, and it's going to take in these parameters that I'm feeding it. So nice and straightforward. So you're building the job, building the parameters, and subsequently hitting this HTTP request here. That's in principle what you're doing. So if I apply that now and go back to my Jenkins job, let's just go back to SnapLogic so that we can see the pipeline that I'm going to be hitting. So basically I'm going to be hitting this migrate pipeline, okay, and this is the actual pipeline that I'm going to push to my new tenant. So let's go over to my new tenant just to make sure I'm not cheating, If I go to SnapLogic Dev, which is a brand new tenant, then let's have a look at that folder that I'm going to be pushing it into. So let's look at pipelines, let's look at projects, Elish Mystery, and you can see that it's only got one pipeline in there, which is find current org name. It hasn't got the other pipeline in there. Okay, so let's switch back to, actually, yeah, we don't even have to switch back. So if we go back to here and do build with parameters, then you'll see that at runtime it does give me the option to pick new parameters. So at this stage, if you've parameterized it correctly, then you can actually configure this at runtime as well. So if you build this job, and you can see it's building here and pending, and it gives you some indication of what's happening. So it's taking those parameters and pushing that pipeline over to my new tenant. So it's just run. You can see here it's got some indication of what's happened there, but it shows it's completed successfully. So now if we go back to my destination org and just do a refresh, with any luck that new pipeline would have been pushed from Jenkins, from my source project, and it would have been pushed to my new tenant. Okay, so if I now go to pipelines, I go, oh actually let's flip back to connect faster. So let's go back to SnapLogic development. If I go to pipelines, I go to projects, Elish Mystery, then you can see that that pipeline, the demo Alexa pipeline, has been pulled from my source and pushed over to my new tenant. So nice and straightforward. You're taking these pipelines from SnapLogic and using them and embedding them into your processes. And the great thing is that SnapLogic doesn't kind of have any hard and fast rules to make sure that to kind of make your processes change. We've got the toolbox, the toolkit, and the pipelines such that you can embed our pipelines into your processes. So it's a very straightforward way of interacting with SnapLogic. So hopefully that's given you an overview of how we integrate with GitHub and Jenkins. If you've got any more questions or you want to find out more, then what I'll also do is show you these training videos that we've got. So if I go flip over to here, so I'll also give you access to these training videos, and there's 3 training videos that give you an overview of GitHub integration, Jenkins integration, and also project promotion as well. So there's some more in-depth videos that we can share with you, but hopefully that will give you a flavor of what SnapLogic offers. Thank you so much for your time, and hopefully I'll speak to you again soon.